I'm meteorologist Chris Holcomb from the 11Alive Storm Trackers. We've got some light rain moving into the area. It is heavier to the south and west of us, and that's moving northeast. We'll let you know if we'll have any potential for thunder and lightning out of this coming up.
So tonight, suspended a Georgia State University student athlete is off the field. She's accused of using a racial slur on social media.
And some last-minute wheeling and dealing produced a bipartisan deal expecting to end the government shutdown. But the drama, the theatrics, they are far from over.
Let's begin with some breaking news out of Gilmer County. According to authorities with the Sheriff's Department, a school bus was leaving Clear Creek Middle School and it flipped over. Now, no other cars were involved in this accident. We do have a picture from Gilmer County from the fire department. Officials say 12 students were taken to the hospital. All of them, they're expected to be just fine. Any updates we get, we'll post them online at 11alive.com.
They ran down through the wooded area there, and before the deputy could arrive, we heard one more pop.
A witness describes a chaotic scene in Conyers on Sunday morning. New at 5, we are getting our first look at 41-year-old Latron Bell. He now has been charged with murder, accused of gunning down his own wife.
Investigators are saying this all happened with the children inside the home.
Tonight, we're digging deeper to see if there was a past history of abuse. Here's 11Alive's Naima Abdullahi.
The sheriff's office tells me they've received a domestic call from the couple's home last February, but no charges were filed. The suspect, Latron Bell, is now sitting in jail charged with shooting his wife and also shooting at deputies. A domestic call from Habersham Way in Conyers turned deadly when the suspect, Latron Bell, chased his wife and mother of 3 out of their home and into a wooded area. That's where he's accused of shooting her.
They found the victim, Miss Lisa Bell, face down in a wooded area with a gunshot to the chest.
The Rockdale County Sheriff's Office says earlier last year they received a domestic call from their home. Neither of the homeowners filed an incident report. When police arrived to the scene Sunday, the Sheriff's Office says it was a dangerous situation with the suspect threatening the lives of officers on scene.
He came out of the home and fired upon the deputies immediately. And so it was on, the deputies returned fire and then began to chase him. It was dangerous because of the neighborhood, the subdivision, not knowing, who was out. So the officers had to take into account the safety of others.
Officers fired beanbag rounds at Bell and arrested him. He's now charged with felony murder, 2 counts of aggravated assault against law enforcement, 3 counts of cruelty to children, and possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime. The couple's 3 children were safely inside their home at the time.
We don't believe that they saw anything beyond when we arrived.
Naima Abdullahi, 11Alive News.
If you're just getting home, you've noticed the rain impacting the commute, and it will perhaps linger.
Yeah, what a difference a week makes. We were talking about snow and cold. Now we're talking about, I guess, weather that is a little more familiar around here as far as the rain goes.
Yeah, thank goodness this is all the liquid variety of precip as temperatures are up into the low 60s right now. And you can see some of these lighter showers that are moving into our area. We've been dealing with some mist and drizzle off and on today. Now a little better coverage of light rain moving in. Look just down to the south and west. If you head down 85 toward LaGrange and over into Alabama, this is where we're running into some more heavy rain. We've had some thunder and lightning with this from Montgomery on up close to the Auburn area. This is moving over across the line. I want you folks into Troup County, Heard County, potentially even Coweta County, Meriwether County. Just be aware that you may have a pocket or 2 of moderate to heavy rain at times, maybe even a rumble of thunder or flash of lightning, but we're not expecting severe weather here in our area. The severe weather threat is mainly down to the south and west, where you see the green color from Montgomery on down into the Florida Panhandle. That's where we have a marginal risk for severe storms. That covers parts of southwest Georgia. Our air here is just a little more stable, so as the system moves in, yeah, it's going to bring us some rain, but we're not really concerned about a severe weather threat. Take a look at the visibility. This is in Cobb County here. As we're looking up 75, visibility a little bit lower with some of the low clouds and some of that light rain that we have in the area right now. As we go through the rest of the evening hours, it is going to stay mild. Right now, we're in the low 60s. We most likely will be holding in the low 60s throughout much of the evening hours until those temperatures fall again tonight once this cold front passes through. This isn't an Arctic blast, but it is some slightly cooler air moving in. We'll let you know how this system is going to impact the temperatures for the week ahead coming up.
Chris, thank you. All new at 5, a Georgia State student athlete has withdrawn from the university after being suspended for allegedly using a racist comment on social media. Natalie Martinez played on the GSU women's soccer team. She is accused of using a racial slur on her Instagram account. During the weekend, the athletics department issued a statement on Twitter. It reads, "We do not tolerate the language the student used in her post. Pursuant to our student-athlete code of conduct, she has been suspended from the soccer team." The university confirms the student now plans to withdraw from Georgia State University.
A college student from Snellville killed in a mysterious car wreck along with another student. This was nearly a year ago. And now, after all this time, the students' families believe the car was defective. They're actually filing a lawsuit now, trying to warn everyone who happens to drive that vehicle. It's a 2016 Chevy Cruze. John Shirick's on the story for us this evening.
It was this past February, almost a year ago. Hundreds of students at Texas A&M Kingsville grieving, mourning the deaths of two honor students in a mysterious car wreck. 19-year-old Ebenezer Olaba of Snellville was driving, and he and a fellow student, 23-year-old Oscar Fuentes, had just rented this 2016 Chevy Cruze on their way to a student conference. And for some reason, the car suddenly veered off of the highway into a river, and both students were killed. Now in Atlanta, their parents and their parents' attorneys say they believe the car was defective, suddenly accelerating uncontrollably.
They weren't able to stop, and the vehicle wouldn't slow down.
Atlanta attorney Chris Stewart says that's one of three possible causes they say they've identified, saying there are inherent problems with the 2016 Chevy Cruze, so they are suing General Motors for, they say, making a defective car, and Enterprise Rent-A-Car for, they say, renting a defective car to the students. And the attorneys are suing 8 others as well. Ebenezer Olaba's father, Zacchaeus Olaba, says he hopes the lawsuit will save lives.
And my son, Ebenezer Olaba, is the pride of the family, is what the family look up to, but we love him.
This lawsuit is being filed to protect everybody in this country that may have this vehicle.
The attorneys say they're aware of 3 other instances of 2016 Chevy Cruze models accelerating uncontrollably out of 189,000 sold in the U.S. But the attorneys say they don't know how many wrecks of the model there have been that might have been due to possible inherent problems with the manufacturer of the car, possible problems that police investigators at the wrecks might not have immediately identified. GM is not commenting yet. We're waiting for a response from Enterprise. In Atlanta, John Shirick, 11Alive News.
The government shutdown looks like it is going to end soon. Democrats say they will support a plan to fund the government temporarily, while Congress works on an immigration plan. The funding deal only lasts until the beginning of February. That way, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell can work on a bipartisan plan for immigration and a broader budget before the new deadline hits.
Let's join together, put the filibuster behind us, and get back to work.
The Republican majority now has 17 days to prevent the Dreamers from being deported.
President Trump told reporters in a statement he was pleased the Democrats had come to their senses, end quote. Coming up at 5:30, Blaine Alexander will have more reaction from Capitol Hill for us.
There is an effort developing at the state capitol to clamp down on what a piece of legislation is calling fake service dogs. It's a problem, especially for people who rely on service dogs to help them and help save their lives. 11Alive's Doug Richards is at the Capitol with more on the story. Doug?
Well, hello, Melissa. This is a committee that will be appointed sort of to search for answers, to try to figure out how much of a problem so-called fake service dogs are and whether to criminalize the pattern of behavior that brings them into buildings.
I use a motorized wheelchair to get around, the assistance of a service dog.
She is Dawn Alford. Her service dog is Cab, who helps her navigate through doorways and around people in the crowded state capitol building. Alford is a lobbyist with the Georgia Council on Developmental Disabilities. Cab has been trained to help her get around in a place that otherwise disallows animals.
And I'm very grateful for the laws in our country that protect that right.
But Alford says she's seen people try to abuse that right in order to get their pets into places that otherwise would not allow them. A Senate resolution asks whether there is a need to criminalize the use of a fake service animal and calls for a Senate study committee to perhaps answer that question.
I don't know what the answer is, to be quite honest with you.
Alford says she's not sold that laws need to be changed, but she says the issue is real.
And I am concerned. I do want to make sure that people who do not have a legitimate need for a service dog do not put my rights in jeopardy.
And federal law is the law that typically governs the use and the rights of service dog owners. The question is whether the state of Georgia will step in with the creation of this committee, which would then study the issue and then presumably make recommendations on what kind of law, if any, to pass. Back to you, Melissa.
I think we've all seen more and more dogs with that label on them as a service dog, and maybe even question from time to time its importance for that individual. It'll be interesting to follow this story. Thank you, Doug. I want to show you a scary scene at a hotel in Henry County. Police say an armed man entered this Hilton Home 2 Suites, firing a gun in the lobby before continuing through the hotel, eventually forcing his way into a room on the 3rd floor.
He had a confrontation where he approached the employees there. They were on the phone with 911. At some point, they decided to separate themselves from him because they were trying to be protective of themselves, and that's when he was making his way through the hotel.
Police arrested Shermaine Perkins without anyone else getting injured. They also recovered a handgun and a longer gun inside the hotel. Officers are telling us that Perkins appeared to be under the influence or suffering from some possible mental issues. A woman is expected to be okay. This is after she was caught in the crossfire outside an Atlanta nightclub. Police say a group of men started arguing outside the Peacock nightclub, that's on Auburn Avenue, and then started shooting at each other. Well, the victim was shot in the back. She was trying to run away from all that gunfire. 2 people were arrested, and one of them was shot in the leg.
Well, the stage is all set for Super Bowl 52. Are you ready to go? Do you have a favorite team here? Patriots are back to try to make it back-to-back. They're defending their title, taking on the Eagles. It will be in Minneapolis. A rematch of the 2005 Super Bowl, which the Patriots won. That would happen in Jacksonville, giving Tom Brady his 3rd Vince Lombardi trophy. He has won 2 more since then. Some people are happy, some people not so much about the matchup in 2 weeks. So on our Facebook page, we wanted you to show us how you feel with a GIF. Margaret Wason, not so thrilled, showing Donald Duck pulling the covers over his head. Brenda, I guess, is an Eagles fan. She posted a picture of a dancing Donovan McNabb. Andy, not too excited, showing Bart and Lisa Simpson reacting by saying a familiar 3 letters. Yeah. And I am sure that this person feels like every Vikings fan today, posting a GIF of a Vikings player slamming his helmet to the ground. It was that kind of day in Minneapolis for the hometown Vikings. 11Alive is your home for Super Bowl 52. The game will kick off Sunday, February 4th at 6:30. I will be traveling to Minneapolis, braving 2-degree temperatures, wearing a big, heavy, ugly jacket.
What about the hat?
I don't wear hats. We will bring you all the excitement as Atlanta prepares to host next year's Super Bowl.
You might need a hat. You might really need one.
I think there is a true possibility of that. I'm currently wearing one. Did you know that?
No, not at all. That's why you won't wear one. You don't want to crush that beautiful hair.
Yeah, right. It needs a chin strap. It's like a helmet. Okay.
We'll be covering, of course, the Super Bowl and bringing you live coverage, as Jeff mentioned. Tonight, we are digging into what you may have heard from time to time, the fact that your mattress could get heavier with time and with use. We will verify if it's true or not, coming up in just a few minutes. Hotspots remain at this site. It's a recycling facility in East Point. The fire actually started earlier in the morning at Newell Recycling. This is close enough to the airport that Hartsfield-Jackson and the fire department were called in to help to contain the flames. Now, the fire is not impacting anything nearby, so fire officials are just letting it all burn out. Tonight, a man is finally back at home with family. He was lost in the woods for nearly 12 hours.
Wow.
Canton police said the 41-year-old Brendan Dowling called 911 last night, claiming he was lost on a trail in Bowling Park. His cell phone battery almost dead. Officials searched for him in the overnight hours, and then after just about 10 hours, they finally caught up with him.
I believe he just entered in the trail and it got dark really quick on him, and it's easy to get turned around in these wooded areas out here.
Police say the weather was really the biggest threat because he was only wearing shorts and a t-shirt, and it did dip below 50 degrees overnight.
Well, you probably have seen or heard the commercials. Change your mattress every 8 years. Tonight, we're digging into a rumor that said your mattress doubles in weight from years of being used, and we had to use a chainsaw to actually find out.
Just because your old mattress may look okay doesn't mean it is. Because after 8 years, your old mattress practically doubles in weight.
Mattress ads try really hard to gross you out.
From sweat, dead skin, and millions of dust mites.
And that got Verify viewer Darren Carpenter wondering this.
Do mattresses actually double in weight every 8 years?
Good to see you, I'm David.
Billy is a Verify viewer, and she's been sleeping on this mattress for 20 years.
Well, it looks fantastic. Thank you for donating it to the cause.
It feels like it definitely doubled in weight. Okay, let's talk about dead skin. Working from this study, 2 people would shed about 9 pounds of skin during 8 years of sleep. And that's assuming they're sleeping right on the mattress without sheets like barbarians. So that's not that much weight.
So we've got the mattress and we've arrived now at the laboratory, and they can do their magic in there and see what the heck is inside that thing.
Chad Lytle has a PhD in molecular biology. He works at Research Associates Laboratory in Allen, Texas.
Yeah, these are definitely oil stains. Your body loses all that water.
And they're gonna DNA test this thing.
But we're gonna see if there was dust mites or bed bugs, maybe some fleas.
And this is all at the DNA level you're looking
All at the DNA level.
To see what's living on the mattress, we're swabbing DNA samples. But we gotta see what's inside this thing. So let's bring out the chainsaw. The ad also says weight comes from sweat. And it looks like a pattern of brown rust stains here where the pad hits the springs. But inside it's dry, so no water's accumulating. We're taking the swab samples and prepping them for DNA testing.
We can see some things that you're not gonna be able to see with the naked eye. And that's the kind of the fun part about genetics, and we can actually see what's been there, what's walked there. We tested for aspergillus, bed bugs, phytomium, dust mites, fleas, head and body lice, for Zika virus, West Nile virus, staph, cockroaches, E. coli, chlamydia, and black mold stachybotrys.
We didn't find any of that really gross stuff, but we did find dust mites.
Absolutely positive.
Okay, this thing has mites. That's really no surprise at this point. But is it full of them? Like enough to weigh it down?
How do you compare the amount of mites you found on the surface of the mattress to the amount of mites on the inside?
Oh, there's definitely probably 100-fold more on the outside than there is on the inside.
Is it possible to have double the mattress weight just in mites?
I don't think so. You'd have to have an awful lot of mites. I mean, we're talking billions to get to that point. We sure didn't see it when we cut it open.
Okay, so there's not much weight coming from mites or sweat or dead skin. So the only question left is, has our old mattress doubled in weight? The manufacturer of the mattress told me they don't have a record of what it weighed when it was new.
So I looked up the weights of 50 California Kings sold at Home Depot. The average is 98.4 pounds. And before we cut up our mattress, we weighed it.
102.1. So, do mattresses double in weight over 8 years like the ads say? The answer is no.
But that mattress is mighty, mighty, if you know what I mean. If you have something you want us to verify.
I'm sorry if you've been having dinner while watching that report.
I know, it's
that
awful.
was gross.
You can reach out to our Verify team through 11Alive's Facebook, Twitter, or by emailing verify at 11alive.com.
I lost my appetite.
All that might talk.
I'm meteorologist Chris Holcomb from the 11Alive Storm Trackers. We're tracking rain moving through our area right now, south and west of the city. That's where we have a couple of pockets of more moderate rain that is moving in. You can kind of see this when we go on the south side. In Atlanta, you can see some of the light rain that's moving in. But once you go down to 85 south into parts of Coweta County, I'll put this into live mode right here, and we'll go in just a little bit tighter here into Coweta County. It gets a little more moderate. A couple of pockets of heavy rain in the northern parts of Meriwether County, back into Heard County and also Troup County. At this point, we are not seeing any lightning from this. It is possible, though, as this moves up toward the north and east, we might see a couple of rumbles of thunder and flashes of lightning. In fact, we can check here our lightning counter because we did have some lightning earlier down in the southern parts of Alabama, but as this moves in right now, we're not detecting any other lightning with that right now. So let's take a look at the bigger picture. You can see what we're watching as we go through the rest of the evening hours tonight. Our high-resolution rapid refresh shows more of these showers. They're going to be skirting through. I think the better chance for more moderate to heavy rain is going to be on the south side. We'll have a couple of pockets of moderate rain here as well. Maybe a rumble of thunder or flash of lightning, but we don't expect anything severe out of this. As we go through the rest of the evening hours and then overnight toward tomorrow morning, all of this rain is going to push over to the east and be out of here. This is tomorrow morning at about 8:30. We'll see the clouds disappearing, sunshine returning, a little breezy and cooler tomorrow behind this front. Stay with us. We'll talk more about those temperatures for the week ahead coming up at the bottom of the hour.